In 2001, I'm being modern, surgeons were forced to amputate the world's first transplanted hand from Clint Hallam. He's a 50-year-old Kiwi, and he said, look, he wanted the hideous and withered thing removed because he'd become mentally detached from it.
No, well, yes, of course, because he's calling it hideous and withered. And if it is hideous and withered...
I don't know that it was. I'm not 100% sure.
You're telling the story.
I know, but this is only the beginning. I mean, this is just...
Okay.
This is just like, your amuse-bouche.
I'm still just... Did they put it onto him hideous and withered? They're like, this is the first transplant, so we can't get you a good one.
Bit of a
can't
claw.
get you a good one.
Bit of a claw.
We got it from a grave. It's hideous and withered, but...
We're not going to call it fresh. We're going to call it semi-dried, sun-dried, if you will. But see, I don't know that it actually was necessarily hideous and withered. I think he just didn't feel great about it.
It wasn't as tough as his regular hand.
Well, he didn't have a regular hand.
No, his other hand. Like his other hand. His normal... I know we're not allowed to say normal, but the hand that he had been born with
it would be
forever.
very weird, though, looking down and going, that's not my hand. I can move it, but
totally,
it's not mine.
Totally. Like I get, having I don't know, the back of your knee skin replacement. You never look at that. But your hand? No, not
I'm obsessed with it. That's all I do.
Hard to look at the back of your hand.
Look at that. So the surgeon who did the world's first face transplant, French guy, Jean-Michel Dubarnard.
Nicolas Cage.
Yep. So he did that on a woman who'd been attacked by a dog in 2006, and he said, look, there were psychological factors that were a serious issue for patients who received these allografts.
Allografts?
Yeah, like from outside organs and things from other donors.
Okay.
And he says psychological consequences of hand and face allografts show that it is not so easy to use and see permanently a dead person's hands, nor is it easy to look in a mirror and see a dead person's face.
Yes. Look, yeah.
How are you feeling so far?
Non-experts could have said that in advance.
I know.
The idea...
How this isn't my face? I feel weird.
Would there be any psychological issues? Who would imagine?
Yeah, you're like, oh, God, this is going to take a few years to study a full degree and then a bit of research.
No, you don't need that. You don't need that.
No, you don't.
Do you think putting on someone else's face would make you feel normal or not normal?
Holy fuck. I mean, I remember seeing photos of that first one and thinking, I know this was a person under extreme duress.
Yeah.
But I don't know how well I'd handle it. Unless they were super hot, then I'd look in the mirror and go, this is all worth it. Look at me now.
No, you got to have a hot skull. Like, it's got to, like...
Come on, look at me. I've got enough for 2 hot skulls.
No, you put you do. No, but if you've got a super hot face, it needs to go on top of a super hot skull. And
It's
and
true.
they have to match.
It's
like,
true.
You can't just do it.
Yeah, like if you put...
I've looked into this.
I know.
It depends on your skull shape.
That's a bummer.
Yeah.
There are not many hot guys in the head this size.
No, definitely.
Only one, really.
No, there is definitely. Yeah, don't talk yourself down, mate.
I could get Nick Nolte's face.
Has he got a big head?
No, he's got a bit of a sack of shit face. He's not doing well. So it seems transplants of things that we can't that we can see often a bit disturbing. Like I don't think people get as freaked out. It's like, oh, that kidney isn't mine because you can't see it. So doctors have been successfully reattaching penises after traumatic accidents.
God. Okay.
And things for quite some time.
Listen, just to pause for a second. He said to me, I have found the most topic ever. Like
maybe not ever, but certainly in a long time.
Jesus.
Why do you think I'm wearing my Tool t-shirt? So as recently as July 2020, so last year, UK surgeons reattached the ding-dong nearly a day after it was cut off the guy, which is the longest time it's been documented.
Reattached?
This is a reattach.
Okay, so...
Yeah. That was the longest duration, so nearly a day. It hadn't had a blood supply, etc., but apparently it was successfully replanted rather than transplanted. 6 weeks after the operation, his urethra is working again.
Okay.
Sensation had returned, and he could salute the Queen.
Oh, excellent.
Also get a hard on. To be fair, he could salute the Queen before. There may be some dick jokes in this. Just one or two. But the 2006 operation in Guangzhou, China, was something a bit new. You don't know about this?
No.
So that was when surgeons performed the world's first penis transplant.
Okay.
It was on a man whose original business was damaged beyond repair, was the quote, in an accident that left him with a 1 centimetre long stump.
Okay.
He couldn't wee. He couldn't have the Congress Carnal especially with 1 centimeter. Like he just
Okay.
shit wasn't working.
Yeah, okay. And it was beyond repair.
Yeah, and yeah.
Sounds horrible.
So in the understatement of the century, one of the surgeons said his quality of life was affected severely.
Well, yes. Again, he didn't need a psych degree for that. Like, again,
Didn't need to be a surgeon either.
No, you didn't.
What do you got?
You could be literally like a pair of podcast people and say from a distance of 5,000 kilometers and many years, his life was affected.
Dude's had his dick ripped off. It's a 1 centimeter stump. He can't pee with it.
God,
and he
you've got to be super resilient to be positive in that scenario. To go, yep, things are looking up. This is finally.
Yeah.
This is.
Don't worry, we can do something. So they attached a 10 centimeter penis to the 44-year-old patient after the parents of a brain-dead man half his age agreed to donate their son's organ.
That is very, very generous of them. And the donor, obviously the donor didn't know, but...
Not a lot. Brain dead. I mean, here, okay, you can have that. Of course, it involved complex microsurgery to connect nerves, tiny blood vessels. It took 15 hours.
Yeah.
And it worked.
Oh, that's great.
So literally... 10 days after the new Todge was on, it had a good blood supply and he was able to urinate normally. 10 days, transplanted, he could make the waters.
Yeah, that sounds...
That's really impressive.
I don't have a number of days to expect for that. But
I wouldn't have expected 10. I would have thought...
11?
100? Month? More than 10? Just seems quick. I mean, I had a hernia operation. It hurt a month later, and this guy's had a new dick put on, and he's like, I wasn't lifting
It didn't
things.
say it didn't hurt. Didn't say it didn't hurt.
That's true. There were no signs of rejection at this point. But, quoting one of the surgeons, because of a severe psychological problem of the recipient and his wife, the transplanted penis regretfully had to be cut off, which they did 2 weeks later.
Oh.
So that's a bummer. The first fully successful penis transplant, as in it remained, was in South Africa in 2014. And apparently, this is an aside, in rural South Africa, around 250 men a year become depenistrated, usually due to botched circumcisions, because they do them as manlyhood rituals instead of medically.
Oh, God.
They go wrong, they get affected,
God,
and they lose it.
Oh.
They actually lose their parts. Do you want to sit differently? You good? You want to stand?
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
I know. So that was 2014. This was followed by one in the USA in 2016, and that was on a 60-year-old, I believe, and the follow-up was really good on him. And then another in South Africa in 2017. So this is cool, right? They're starting to transplant penises, which is excellent, but it's not routine.
Okay.
Like there are.
So they're successful. So they're transplanting the psychs as well. It's working. Okay.
Yep. Shit works. It would seem. But it's not the routine way to fix your standard sort of ding-dong issues. You know what I'm talking about.
Well,
You've read a book.
What are your standard sort of ding-dong issues?
We'll get to that. So for now, if you need a new one or you're looking to recondition your existing one, you probably need to become extremely familiar with the world of penile prostheses.
Welcome to the Wholesome Show. Science stories, whether you want them or not.
That should be our new name. That's the new motto. Like it or not, you're bloody listening to this.
The Wholesome Show is me, Will Grant.
And me, Dr. Roderick Griffin. It's all working downstairs, Lamberts.
and it's not brought to you by anyone. Or maybe the Australian National Centre for the Public Awareness of Science, because
and prostheses
regardless
of
of how juvenile the science is,
yes, it's still science.
It's still science. Still science. Still science.
It's better. This is science and technology. We're bringing them together.
And juvenile.
Oh, well, look, the world's oldest 15-year-old, or at least Australia's oldest 15-year-old boy. You knew that when we started.
Oh, God damn it. Okay.
Are you looking forward to this?
Of course I am. Look,
this is a 4-hour one.
I have been thinking for forever. I would like to.
What did you think it was going to be when I said I found one of the most me ones in ages? You tried poo, and I said, no, it's not poo.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. What did you think?
To be honest, I thought the mystery will come to me.
Nice.
So
Donald Trump and Scott Morrison style, you just lack curiosity?
Not at all. Not at all. Look.
No, I think yours is the best approach. Like, I'm not even going to try. I'll find out.
Yeah, no, I'm reveling in knowing that this drills into your brain in a deeper way than ever before. But
Yeah. No, by the end of this, you're going to know.
Unless it was hat sizes, maybe that was it. You're finally going to do the head size tutorial, how to spot someone's head size.
That would only be for you, though. I think a lot of people would go, I'm going to listen to the next episode.
They're guaranteed there are many listeners out there who can't spot head size either.
Oh, you might be right. I'm going to do a study, So, prostheses and implants of the gentleman's trouser area.
I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready. This is good. Let's go.
We have plenty of beers and no one has to be anywhere for a couple of hours. It's going to be fine. If you need to take a break, you tell me.
Yeah, okay.
So the standard procedure to construct or reconstruct male genitals is a phalloplasty.
Okay. Cool.
Phalloplasty. It's a plasty for a fellow.
Yeah, I understood that.
A rolled tube of tissue, blood vessels and nerves, generally taken from the forearm or thigh, are transplanted to the groin.
Well, it's going to need to be the thigh.
Yeah, it's up to you. Don't you want like as big as your forearm? I mean, thigh size is maybe going carried away.
I don't know. Well, obviously.
There's boasting and there's ridiculous.
You're in the shop, so you go for ridiculous.
That's true.
Like
it could wither. And it goes on to say an ersatz penis that needs an external pump is then required. So you get an ersatz penis that needs an external pump to become erect.
Okay, so you got a little pump on your leg somewhere. You can squeeze it.
Oh, not on your leg. Don't worry.
You going to tell me where?
I got pictures for you. My wife came into the room when I was looking at this and she just looked at my screen and said, what the fuck are you doing this time?
Is there something you need to tell me?
There were MRIs, there were X-rays, there was, oh my God, my image search blew up and none of it was pervy. Like it was all medical and it was insane.
I just like the ads that you're going to get for the next 6 months because of all the cookies that you accepted.
Christ, they should be dreadful. They should be really bad. So usually these sorts of procedures are for less horrifying matters than having your junk actually damaged or infected beyond saving. There are others. So they're also likely for things like gender affirmation or reassignment surgery, etc. That's how you would do it.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Ish. There are some other things, but we'll get to those later. The most common application of prostheses in particular is for erectile dysfunction, or ED. Yep. I know no one in this room has any idea what that is, but I read about it so that we can be informed.
Tell me more, yeah.
So what is ED? You did ask. It's the inability to achieve or maintain an erection sufficient for sexual performance. The first accounts go way back.
How far?
Like...
There's cave paintings? Please tell me there's cave paintings.
It's hard to tell. Is that penis or spear? Which angle?
No good.
Stabbing buffalo, still can't tell. That's how ancient Australians spoke. Actually, everyone.
Yeah, they all had deeper voices.
Yes, they did.
It's because of the big brows.
Yes, big browage equal resonant voice. So first accounts come from medieval Islamic stuff. Sorry, Carrion.
I'm just stuck on the idea that us moderns have squeaky voices and the ancients have these deep resonant voices.
We're not manly anymore. When was the last time you ran down a buffalo on your own and ate it while it was still alive?
I've literally dreamed of doing that, but no, I haven't.
Same thing. You're right. Same thing. So the first
ancient Islamics.
Yeah, medieval Islamic physicians in the 8th century, and they would try things like herbs, prayer, topical, and also urethral.
Yeah, so this is a topical ointment, but you've got to put it
down the head of the old champ.
Inside there.
Pop it down the tunnel.
Don't worry about it. You do this at home. I'll just prescribe.
I'm going to give you some things to do at home. Don't worry, or at least one that's great. There are other kinds of therapies and things they tried, but they had limited success. It's been of interest to physicians since this period, at least.
Do we know? The others had limited success. Did the ones they tried that you've got here have some success?
Oh yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, this is a good news story.
What sort of ointments were they? What are you...
Oh, they were. Some of them were ancient unguents. Others were called sauce. Musk. Yeah. Also, found. So there's a seminal text called the Canon of Medicine in English. It's a medical encyclopedia.
Of course, it's the seminal text.
Not the. I mean, come on. Yeah, kind of. It was an encyclopedia compiled by a Persian polymath called Avicenna Ibn Sina in 1025. That mentions the floppy business.
Yep.
Accounts also appear in the Old Testament and in sacred Hindu texts. My son, are you having trouble bearing fruits, bearing me new worshippers? Yes. Have you tried prayer? A lot. A lot.
Oh, there's probably some sort of sacrifice.
That's it. Kill a goat.
Yeah.
Get a hard on. That's everyone. That's the old saying. Hippocrates famously declared that being worried about business and unattractive women caused erectile dysfunction.
That's a little bit mean. I mean, the business thing, I get it. You're stuck in business all day. You're selling your stocks and your shares.
I'm looking at the
real
sheets.
estate.
I'm looking at the pliers and the pink and the
Fair
red.
enough.
Yeah.
You can't get it up when you're stuck in business, which is it's a little bit early for this. But anyway, I think blaming the women here is a little bit of an asshole move.
I don't know if he's blaming them. He's
Yes, he is.
Saying
He
there's
just
a correlation.
said. He just said.
There's correlation between unattractive women.
No, he blamed.
And in typical Greek fashion from Hippocrates, my penis and nuggets are hard, which is not Greek. So surgical treatments and other wacky business have been tried, and we've featured a couple of these in previous Wholesome Show episodes, like Charles Edward Brown-Séquard.
Yep.
Who used to dog testicle extract, and of course our buddy Sergei Voronov, who would transplant monkey testicle
Monkeys
bits.
and goats.
Yep, and he said that could renew youth. So if you want to hear about all those, just look at the back catalogue and roll around in it, enjoy yourself, knock yourselves out. So that's ancient stuff, and or 1800s going into early 20th century. How do you diagnose erectile dysfunction?
Well, you talk to the patient, and the patient...
So can you get it up? No. I think you've got to...
I think it's diagnosed.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I think the patient will know when it should be going and it doesn't go.
But you're supposed to be a science-positive human.
Are you saying we can't trust the patient's word here?
Look, I'm gonna offer you a DIY
So
technique.
we've got to put them in a lab with another person of their desire.
Good one.
And then see if anything happens. Do some kiss face, kiss. Now do touch.
Anything?
Now do touch.
Still
Anything?
nothing, Doc.
Yeah.
What about
romantic candlelight? Now champagne and strawberries.
What kind
oysters.
of champagne? Which champagne?
I guess this is ruining the medicine that you might be giving. That might okay.
Really? Does that have an effect?
I don't
Champagne?
know. I'm just seeing how far they have to go to do this test.
Yeah, it's true. Like, we're going to get you drunk and see if you can get a hard on. Like, well, look, I couldn't before, and this has not helped.
There you go.
Do you know what's worse?
What?
If you get really drunk and you can.
In this lab?
No,
in
at
the
all.
lab?
A friend of mine told me.
I don't know.
That can make things worse.
Can it?
So, how do you diagnose? So, as I say, there are many ways, but this one, I want to tell you about this one that I like the most because it's a DIY one.
I'm still not troubled by the idea of diagnosis here. It's a little bit like, diagnosing someone as having lost a leg. It's like you can see it. You don't need an.
It's going to go deeper than like it could just be like you're a bit stressed out.
We've got to science this up.
Yeah, because you could just be a bit stressed out. Like you're having a bad day, week, month, and you're like,
Okay. So the difference between some sort of
attractive, but I'm not getting anywhere.
ongoing erectile
more than once
dysfunction versus you're having a bad night. Okay,
yeah, I'm a bit tired today. I did a hard workout, and now look, you're hot, but I can't.
Yeah, I'm not in the mood.
Yeah. Men don't get to not be in the mood. Men are always in the mood. That's just
no. In June they said no. June there is a mood for love, but not for war.
Why would you tell me what happens in that movie?
I don't know.
You jerk. So it's common for a man to average between 3 and 5 erections at night when they're sleeping that last for 25, 35 minutes. Soft. Mine more like 4 hours.
Whatever, man.
No, this is about macho. I mean,
don't be macho on this. Just be normal.
I don't know how. I'm very macho. Like some say I'm too manly.
They do.
So nighttime erections can be an indicator that your reproductive system is going okay, but a lack of them.
Oh, okay.
Can be an indicator of ED. So it's beyond just, look, I've had an off day or an off few days.
But you're not getting nothing at night.
Yeah, you're not even autonomically getting them, which is apparently very normal.
So how they testing for these?
Well, this is how you can test for these.
I'm asleep. I don't know. I can't do science.
I'm going to tell you. Did you bring a notepad?
I'll put it in the memory palace.
I think we're recording this. You could probably listen to it later because who doesn't listen to their own shit all the time? To check if you're having sleepy time erections, why not try the nocturnal penile tumescent stamp test?
I do normally.
You should.
Obviously don't look at the results. Tell me more.
So I went to the Very Well Health website, which is
Very Well Health.
Verywellhealth.
It's really called Very Well Health.
Very Well Health.
I'm not trusting it.
No. When you hear the technique, I think you will.
If it said very healthy, or
fucking healthy, rule well.
That's fine.
Now this one, it's fairly medical. So, although this specific self-test is considered outdated, if you've never discussed ED with a healthcare provider before, it may give you some talking points to initiate a conversation.
Okay, so this is one you can do at home without any special equipment.
Oh, no special equipment.
This is just wake yourself up and check.
Kind
Please
of.
tell me it's as simple as that.
Not much more complicated. Also, there are no risks involved with the self-test if performed correctly. I'm trying to work out how you could get this wrong enough that it could cause you damage. And you want this too.
I've instantly thought, okay, so what are you doing? You're going to wear like, I know, you put like, you know how in spy movies, you put like a hair over the door to see if anyone has broken in.
That's what you do.
This is what you're doing. You sticky tape a hair between your dick and your body somehow.
Look.
Or is this...
Do you know what's funny about this?
You put crepe paper undies on. Crepe paper undies.
You're getting closer.
And see if they break.
The giveaway's in the name. Nocturnal penile tumescence stamp test.
Stamped. Oh, okay. You put a little stamp.
You will need a strip of 4 to 6 postage stamps for each of the 3 nights in a row you'll have to do this. I know, right? You don't think of that, do you? You're like, do they mean actual stamps? And for our younger listeners,
okay, so
that's how mail gets around.
Not like a...
No, not like you're authorised.
Yep.
Not like a customs. Bang!
Like I want a wax seal. You put a wax seal on your dick and then tell me more. What?
Can you imagine? Okay, first drip hot wax on the end of it. Nothing? So you'll need a strip of 4 to 6 postage stamps for each night of the 3 nights you should try it. You wear brief-style underwear with a fly. So old school jocks with a pull-out thing. I assume they still sell
with
those.
A fly?
Yeah, you pop it open rather than whip it over the top.
Yeah, no, I get it. Okay.
The Grundies.
Yeah.
I think that's the original Grundy rather than undie. Position the penis so it's through the fly. Or
okay.
So
you're out. Yep.
And I like keep most of your pubic hair inside.
What? Oh, okay.
So I was just some out for a bit of fun.
I was just thinking, why not just be nude? But okay, we want to conceal the pubes for some sort of a reason.
Well, because you got stamps getting involved now.
You don't want to get stamps in pubes, obviously.
I like it's most of it too. Like just leave a bit out for it. Keep it looking cool. Keep it real.
Just a hint.
Oh God, a story
that
just
album
came to
cover.
mind. I'm not going to tell you, but it's a good story.
You can't do that. You can't do that. Are you too embarrassed to tell this?
I'll tell it.
No, I'll have to edit it out.
It's to do with pubic hair.
All right.
And surgery. Okay, I had to have an operation that involved that area, and they, of course, shaved the area. That's not embarrassing. But what I love is they are completely instrumental about it. So they shaved like 90%.
Yeah, you leave a hint.
On one side. It's like there's this weird bald guy tuft on one side. I remember waking up and going, seriously, it's a centimetre wide. You should have just...
No, you can't be aesthetically focused.
Dude.
No, you can't be aesthetically focused.
Just
this is for function.
It cracked me up. I was like, this is one of the funniest things I've never done to myself.
You didn't come home and say, hey, look, this is new style. This obviously... Look, love, this is what they're all doing.
What do you reckon? Yeah, my Instagram blew up that date. So you keep most of your pubic hair inside the briefs. Use the stamps and make a tight ring around the shaft of the penis. Make sure the stamps overlap so you can moisten the top one and seal it over the bottom one. So you make a little ring of stamps around the John Thomas.
So use the stamps. So we're stamping your dick.
Yeah, and you're making a little ring of stamps so they all should connect and stick. You allow them to dry for a minute or two. This apparently was a legit method. Like this was actually, and you can see why it would work. I mean, because here's what happens.
Yeah.
It actually could work. I just love how hilarious it is and functional. So you moisten one level, you make sure it sticks. You allow the stamps to dry for a minute or two, and then reposition the penis inside the briefs. And the underwear will help you hold the stamps in place while you sleep. So at first, there's a tip for new players.
Oh, so you. Okay, so you're putting it back away. You're not staying like that the whole.
No, because that would look weird.
It's gonna look weird, whatever.
Can you imagine if you didn't if you have a sleeping chum and you don't tell them, you're like, what are you doing? Nothing.
Look, it's a thing. It's a thing. They're all doing it now.
It's medical. I'm doing a diagnosis. So at first they say the stamps may feel a bit strange or uncomfortable. It's good to have a heads up.
No, I'm used to it very quickly.
It's good to have a heads up though, because you might not think, is it weird that I don't find this normal and it is a little uncomfortable? When you wake to check.
I just got to say.
Oh, sorry.
I just got to say, there is no placebo in this. In this test.
No, just stamps.
We're not controlled here.
You don't use a placebo.
I'm just saying, what if you're finding stamps alluring?
good
How do you go
point.
back? How do you go back to being allured by the non-stamp world?
Oh, good call. Like, I got one, but only because stamps.
So all future sex is, well, your dick
So I'm
is
just going to have
stamped.
to pop out the post office.
Excuse me, darling. I just need to.
Do they sell
put something-
condoms at the post office? No, but they do still stamps.
I'm sending you a letter.
That could be what we call it from now on. Want me to send you a letter? So when you wake, check if the stamp ring has torn along any of the perforations, because then you'll know if maybe you've engorged. That's the idea. The stamp is your test. If you've aroused, the stamps will rip along the perforations.
Along the perforation, yeah.
Because they rip quite easy. They're designed to tear.
Okay.
And, you know,
I'm still, why not masking tape?
because it won't rip. It'll just hurt and constrict you. This will say, oh, during the night, I broke the ring.
No, okay, all right.
And they say, but they do offer some additional information. If you awake in the middle of the night and notice you have an erection.
This is an intensely bit of English science.
It's actually from the University of California, San Francisco Medical Center.
All right, fair enough. All right, I stand corrected.
It comes from UC California.
I really thought this is such a, the fascination of postage stamps and doing this kind of things. It seems very...
I can't put a train around it, and I do love trains. So maybe a stamp. The 1 penny blighter or whatever they call them with the queen facing
Penny
backwards.
black.
Penny black, there you go. So if you awake during the night and you notice you have an erection, the University of California, San Francisco Medical Center recommends checking it and assessing its firmness.
Is that regardless? Regardless if you're testing for ED or just in general?
You woke up, you got an erection, check it.
What's their test for checking the firmness?
I don't know. I think it's...
You didn't look that up?
I think it's more the vibe.
Like it's not give it a good flick or something like that? I don't know.
You give it the black clock. You hold it around the top and you like that. And if it goes down, you'll not try hard enough.
I don't know what that accent is.
It's from the northern peoples. If someone gets too aroused, you hold them around the top and you do that like that. No more arousal. The funny thing is, I'm not making that up.
I don't know if you want to get rid of it. I'm just testing. What is the test for?
Well, the thing is, if you do that and it stays hard, you do not have an ED problem.
Okay, fair enough.
Or you really like stamps, as you cunningly noticed. So anyway, that's one way for erectile dysfunction. As we're saying, that's the main reason people need devices for their penises.
Yep.
So back to the devices. So the first penile prosthesis, or no, not first, sorry. What do you need? What makes it a prosthesis? So it's a device, either external or implanted, that substitutes for or supplements the function of erectile bodies to achieve penile rigidity, thus stimulating an erection. In broad terms, prosthetics are used to restore function and make the body, in quotes, whole again. So the ideal device would mimic, as they put it, a native physiologic erection as closely as possible, both in function and appearance. So just the fact that it gets hard is not enough. It should also look like a normal...
Are you going to tell me there's versions that don't?
Oh, fuck, there are. Like, this is awesome. It should perform the mechanical duties necessary for successful intercourse when erect and be durable enough for many uses to match the lifespan of the patient.
Oh, yeah.
That seems fair.
Yes, but, I mean, if there was a disposable version. I don't know. I don't know.
Wow, good idea.
Like, it's a spray-on, last for one go. That's not a crime. It's not a crime.
Spray-on.
Whatever it is.
That could work. No, I'm thinking now. So they say when not in use, the prosthetic should mimic the flaccid state of the penis and it should be discreet.
Yeah, indeed.
The ideal device would
one needs to maintain discretion.
I know, right? Like if you're carrying a big thing that looks like you got a wheelbarrow in your
underpants. A suitcase on the...
That's right. What's that? Oh, it's not great. But one thing, I can perform. We'd also not interfere with urination or daily activities.
Yep.
And it should at least maintain, if not improve, the quality of the sexual experience. And it should be fairly simple to implant, surgically or otherwise. That's the ideal penile prosthesis.
So, listener, if you are building, you want to get into the penile prosthesis
are you in the garage right now?
area. Yeah, you're in the garage.
Yep.
You got the hammer and tongs and the tools out, and you
the soldering iron.
Then follow all of those guidelines because that's what you should do.
And look, we can post the links so you can check these out for yourself. So early versions of the prostheses did not meet these standards.
Of course they didn't. Of course.
So a 16th century one, Ambroise Paré fashioned a penis out of wood for urination after a traumatic penile amputation.
So basically putting urination?
So basically putting a tube on what's left of the urethra so that it, I suppose, doesn't just dribble down your leg.
Sure. Sounds.
But when I say fashion it out of wood, they gave you a wooden tube, a dick straw.
Okay.
The first modern attempt at penile reconstruction was in the 1930s, and that was really only about being able to wee, which is fair. I think, if you're going to have to put things at a level, weeing before having the sex.
Do you know what I don't? Yeah, no, absolutely. I get that. There's a whole lot of dignity and a whole lot of questions going on there. I don't, point of order here.
Yes.
Physiological
Gentleman
question.
at the back,
I don't actually know where the muscles are that stop the urine coming out.
They're in the trousers.
They're somewhere. I know that they're somewhere between your belly button and your knees.
Think about it. Are you weeing now?
No.
So what are you clenching?
So I've got that muscle or something. I'm just saying it's in there. What I'm saying is this gentleman in the 1600s who lost that, did he lose that muscle? He could still clench, or did he have to?
I can't believe I don't know that. But I don't know that.
I
think it might have been more to remove it from the vicinity of the groin.
Yeah, it is possible. All I'm saying, not to critique this guy back in 1600.
No, he tried.
He's doing his best with a bad lot. It's not impossible to urinate.
Might have been nice, Timber,
without standing up. Like if you need, there are plenty of people that do. I've heard.
Talk me through this.
Yeah. So if he, if
sitting down,
if the problem is not stopping, that's a different thing. But if it's I need to be standing up, there's just
other things going
on. Let go of that one.
Yeah. I think it's like have you been in a hospital bed where you got to pee in a bottle?
I think so.
Because that really, the first time I had to do that, I'm laying in bed and they're going like, do you need to go to the bathroom? Like, yeah, well, you can't get up. I said, I know that. Here's a bottle. And my first question was, are you sure it's big enough? Like, I don't know how much pee comes out.
You haven't measured? Huh.
No, I know.
Oh, there you go. You ain't no scientist. You ain't no scientist.
But it's true. Like, do you know? Like, how much do you think is in a urination event?
540 mils.
That's exactly right. But they hand me that bottle. I'm like, okay, if you tell me.
And it's not average. It's literally that every single time. Every single time.
All grown men. But then you got to go to the next hurdle, which is you're lying in bed and it's like, allow yourself to, and you really got to need to go.
No. Yeah, To break all of those taboos that are laid down hard in your brain since you were 2 years old.
17,
8 years old.
Whatever.
Yeah, one of that age.
Before today. So a German physicist called Borgus, he's considered to be the first to engineer a prosthetic device that functioned both for, as they put it, micturition and intercourse in 1936. So he used a rib cartilage, which was designed to function like the os penis, which is the bone you find in many placental mammals who don't have...
Penis bone.
Yeah, penis bone. So he used it on soldiers with traumatic amputation injuries. And he also used, they call this a tissue expanding technique, to create a pocket for placement of the prosthetic. I don't know what that means, and I kind of didn't want to.
We're going to sew you as well. We're going to fix your problems, but as well, we'll make you a little pocket. You can put a few things in there, a couple of Deutschmarks, and a pen, and it's right there. And right, I'm pointing right there. It's right there, right there. Convenient for anything.
Very handy.
If you want to get your change out really quickly, right there.
Just reach down the front. This was improved in 1944 by the Soviet surgeon, and I know you know this name, but others don't, A.P. Frumpkin.
Frumpkin?
I am Frumpkin.
Frumpkin.
Which I love. So he fashioned a abdominal skin into a tube, put a cartilage harvested from the patient's 8th or 9th rib into a new...
I'm admiring this, 1944, and I get that the Soviet Union was chock-a-block.
They had other shit to do back then.
Chock-a-block with... soldiers coming back in terrible conditions from the war.
Very, very.
But also that they were spending time on important, but not the most important.
Yeah, not life critical, but lifestyle critical.
And I'm not knocking the importance here, but
no. So he'd remove a bit of rib, he'd put it in.
Sounds like nighttime work. Maybe
nighttime work.
Once you do your 9 to 5 surgeries, and then there's your after dark surgeries where it's experimental.
I'm still awake.
I get it.
Fix a few dicks. So after you've done this, about 3 to 4 weeks later, the tube gets divided to create a penis, and a urethra was fashioned. So you use this bone, and I feel like you using ancient scrimshaw. You put a hole down the middle of it or something.
Yeah. Did you have to do that yourself, or does the surgeon do that?
No, the surgeon does it. They're not monsters.
While it's in place, or not while it's in place?
I'm thinking in place.
Oh, cool. Hold still. I just got to drill a little bit in.
This might make you clench your teeth.
And the problem is we don't have electric drills yet, so this is the old school.
Yeah. My hands are going to wobble because I'm pedaling a bike right now. But apparently this procedure was fraught with many complications and was only effective often for 18 months or so, up to 4 years, because the cartilage would either fold in on itself or be reabsorbed by the body.
Okay, yeah.
So that's cool. Fold in on itself doesn't sound good. So what about modern ones? Let's go modern penile prostheses. So it seems it really took off in the 70s. That's when people were getting into like, how do we fix this shit?
Mm-hmm.
There are 3 main types. 2 are inflatable, and the other is called the semi-rigid. So the first, the inflatable penile prosthesis, or IPP.
Is it really?
IPP.
IPP.
But I call it IPP.
Yeah, okay.
So these are so there's 2 kinds of inflatables. The first is, or the most elaborate, so it's the second one actually. It's a 3-piece inflatable pump. It involves placing 2 cylinders in the penis, an inflatable pump in the scrotum, a fluid-filled container in the abdomen.
Slow down. I'm visualizing all of this. You can't just run through this quickly. Go again. Just give it.
I've got a picture for you in a tick.
All right.
So you've got 2 cylinders in the penis.
Yes.
An inflatable pump in the scrotum, but who doesn't already have that? And a fluid-filled container in the abdomen. And they're all connected by, quote, special tubing.
Yeah, of course.
You squeeze the pump in the scrotum, and that causes the fluid to move from the container into
That's
the
where
cylinders.
the pump is.
And up it goes.
I know that the ball sack looks a bit like that, but do we have to?
Yeah.
Did we have to do that?
Yeah.
Was that the version it really required that you put the pump in the ball sack?
Imagine that, hang on a tick. And so the fluid that's in your abdomen gets pushed into the 2 tubes on the either side of the champ, and up it goes. And then
Why couldn't you put it under your arm and you do like this kind of thing, like a chicken?
Chicks dig that.
No. Romantic partners dig being engaged.
Circus clown. Hang on a minute. Up it goes. It's like raising the tent.
Oh my God. Okay.
Then when you squeeze the release valve, the fluid moves out of the cylinder, back into the container, and the penis goes down.
I hope it's, I want just a little switch. It's just like turn off.
I want to have sound effect. So when it's inflated, the 3-piece inflatable pump implant acts and feels apparently like a natural erection, and also can feel natural when flaccid. Downsides, at least, one of the main ones is the more moving parts, the more risk of malfunction.
Okay, so
all of them have dangers of potential
super careful
infections.
You just got to be really careful.
Yeah, I've got one. It really works, but I can't use it too much.
It's best not to use it.
Yeah,
it works, but don't.
Check this out. Like, boom. Although we'll talk about how good they are in a moment. The 2-piece inflatable, the IPP2. This implant is similar to the 3-piece and works in the same way, except instead of a separate fluid-filled container, the fluid is kept in the pump. You just pump
straight
bag.
from the. Yeah. I didn't understand why we needed another one.
You need a separate reservoir. It's sophisticated.
No, I didn't.
Maybe because you suddenly got a big sack of fluid added to your scrotum. So is that an extra, 3 testicles? No, it's just my penis pump fluid. I think that could be uncomfortable. The downsides are the erections are less firm than the 3-piece. It's more mechanically complicated than the semi-rigid, which I'm going to talk about in a tick. But the history of this one, so the history of the IPPs, originally developed in July of 73 by Dr. Scott, and he explained the device composed of 2 inflatable silicon bodies, the reservoir and the control pump, and they gave a big hat tip to NASA.
Of course.
Because apparently the high-grade silicon that they developed for space stuff turned out to be really good for penis implants.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
But I do like, so they say, and I actually had to read some science journals for this. A lot of this comes from actual science, medical journals.
No, a lot of every Wholesome episode comes from a lot of reputable journals.
I meant every William episode and this one of mine. So apparently the first version of the IPP suffered from suboptimal device lifetimes and rigidity. And what that means is there was a 61% complication or revision rate at 3 to 5 years. So after installation, 3 to 11 years, more than half issues. But they fixed that. In the 1980s, they built the AMS 700 model. We all know that one.
That is so cool. I mean, that's a great name.
700. I think it's called the Boner 2000, or the
hard
man.
You got to be discreet. No, if you get a box in the mail that's the Boner 2000, that's not discreet. The AMS 700 sounds much more plausible and cool.
What is it? It's for my car.
Exactly.
My computer.
Whereas the Boner 2000 is
the Hard Man 2020.
Okay, that could be like Power Tools or something.
Sounds like you got porn.
It does.
So the modified designs in the 80s, they put caps on both ends of the cylinders, the things in your dick. They didn't need to suture.
Hang on, they weren't capped before?
Apparently not, or they couldn't. I don't think they could be undone. They were like permanent. They were just sealed, but these were manipulable. I linked.
Oh, okay.
Under anaesthetic.
Okay.
Not like you go. I'm just going to unscrew this. Christ. They didn't have to actually suture the fluid system into you, which is great. The major advance, though, was the addition of kink-resistant tubing. Like, what? What did you have before? Stuff that would fold in like a garden hose or a bad vacuum cleaner. And it gets better. So in the early 2000s, some of the leading IPP devices improved designs to their pumps because, as one mob put it, before the introduction of the lockout valves, etc., auto-inflation was reported.
Of course.
In 11% of the cases. So while it's generally a benign problem, auto-inflation can cause embarrassment and inconvenience.
No, we've all been teenagers.
We've all auto-inflated, it's true.
Indeed. Male or female, I'm sure there is a fair bit of auto-inflation everywhere.
I see it all the time, but that's probably just because of me.
Yeah, sure.
And other.
So look, and I get that you're designing a medical device. That's one of the elements of erections that you don't necessarily want to replicate, but...
Yeah, it's like, oh, for fuck's sake, it went off again. You're sitting in a meeting. No, you're standing in a meeting. So, no, it wasn't you. It was my...
It's my implant thing. It's nothing.
Do we have to have this conversation? I suppose we do. If you want to see pictures, I just took two. Sorry, downloaded.
Oh, sure, whatever.
They look pretty intense.
Oh, they look quite surgical. That's very surgical.
They do look surgical, but
they need to put them next to a coin so I can see what sort of size we're talking.
Well, that's dick-sized.
Yeah, I get it.
We all know what that is, 3 to 4
Yeah, so obviously
centimetres.
that 5-cent coin in the distance that I can't see.
So that's what they look like. If you're interested at home, for the 5 of you who watch this on YouTube, that is one of, or 2 of the 9 million images my wife saw me looking at earlier this week and said, seriously, what the hell are you doing now? Which I think is a fair question.
You don't have to explain.
But it's a fair question, and I enjoyed it. So now that's the 2 inflatables. Now we have the semi-rigid or malleable rods. That's the third kind.
Where are these malleable rods coming from?
Oh, this is great. This
okay.
This one's much funnier.
No one's laughing at anything here.
No, it reminds me of a toy I used to have as a kid. They used to call them friendly bendies.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they did.
No, they didn't.
They were toys. And
friendly bendies.
Friendly bendies, and they were like little rubber figures. They could be cartoon
characters.
Oh, okay,
yeah. And they're wire and rubber.
Yeah, they'd wire in them and you'd bend them, and eventually one
sure.
of them would break and be like, oh, fuck my friendly bendy up. But, it was great. I used to love those things. Anyway.
No, you could, you pose them. Poseable.
Yeah, poseable. They called them friendly bendies in the 70s. Bendies.
They stopped calling them that in the 80s.
Yeah, they became the, with consent only slightly bendy.
Exactly.
Stop any time. So about this, just a year after the IPPs, Dr. Scott's revolutionary inflatable device, Michael Small and Hernan Carrion introduced a precursor to these semi-rigid malleable devices. So it's 2 sponge-filled silicon-covered rods.
Please tell me they come from behind.
Surprise!
They're sitting in the back of your thighs somewhere, and you're going to poke them through.
No, they say they're in your permanently erect.
What?
Good news is you've got a hard on. Bad news is you've always got a hard on.
Always.
That was your original.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Of the 2 options here, I don't know.
It's fair to say the moments when I want one, I really, really, really want one.
Yes.
But for the billions of other moments in my day, week, year, whatever, I don't. I just don't.
Depends on your job. A little bit. Not a lot.
Do
not
at work? We'd have to talk about this more.
There's no. No, thank you.
To be fair, it's early version, 70s version.
Well, that's what they thought you want in the 70s.
Yep.
That's obviously...
Who doesn't want to be hard all the time, man?
The failing of the normal erection is that it's too rare.
What do you mean it goes down? So what they now went on to be called the small Carrion implant. My fucking God, what a sexy name. Small Carrion. Well, that's their names, Small and Carrion.
Neither of them you want associated with your dick.
It's like little roadkill. Yeah, just shit on dead animals on the side of the road. The small Carrion implant was addressed. The problems with it, the permanent erection, were addressed by 2 other doctors, Sabrini and Finney, they used softer silicon in the midsection, which meant it could be bent downward when not in use, which improved concealment.
So you just fold it away.
Yeah,
fold it.
Friendly bendy. This is what I'm saying. Like, even the idea of it just sounds so. Suddenly, the abdominal thing filled with fluid and the squat pump sounds fantastic.
It really does. It really does. Even the guy with the wood thing, like, even that is sounding better than this.
What do you mean? It is my PP tube. It is made of mahogany. This is a classy tube. So Finney, one of the two, he made the Flexi Rod in 77, and it had, and I'm quoting, a tapered distal tip for better glans stability. That's the top of the penis for listeners who are unfamiliar. A soft hinge for improved concealment. Fucking hinge. As soon as you hear, well, it's got a hinge. Where's that go? Halfway up towards the... and a tail that could be trimmed.
Where's the tail go?
I don't know.
I mean, I want a dick with a tail now, obviously. Obviously,
I had one. I read this and I'm getting one of those.
No, I don't. And I really do now want a dick with a tail.
No, all I can hear, when I hear that, I'm thinking like, so you could size it to fit you, which I think should have been part of any of them.
But maybe that was implied. I think it was implied in the other ones that you're not gonna, too small, too big. You're not gonna have bits of surgical equipment hanging out the top. It's always sized, surely.
Sweetheart, I think you're lovely, and look, and I'm not put off by the pumping and the screaming, etc. But what's that hanging out the base?
No, let's just assume. Oh, Jesus.
I know, it's really good.
Visual thinkers out there.
Yeah, congrats. You're welcome.
This is not the episode. Just
or it is.
Yes, or.
Yeah, look, I can visualize, but I can what's the word? Remove myself.
I'm deliberately horrifying myself.
Yeah, well, if you think about it too hard, which you shouldn't, it really makes a difference. So in 1978, a year later,
that could be another wholesome motto.
Don't.
If you think about it too hard, which you really shouldn't.
Yeah, exactly. Just don't. Don't think about it too hard. A year after the Flexi Rod, a fella used a silicon wrapped around a central core of metal, like stainless steel or twisted silver wire. And that allowed the device, when bent, to remain in the configuration you put it in.
A fella? A fella
called Jonas.
Did he do this to himself, or was he a surgeon?
No, he was at least a developer of technologies. So it was easy to implant it, and you could bend and twist to make it work. So that was 78. Then, of course, as you would know, but people listening might not, the 1986, the company Dacomed brought out the Omniphase. I know. The Omniphase.
It does all phases of the dick.
Yeah.
Both.
But all at once.
Both. Like, what is Omni? If there is a new phase, if someone's telling me there is some other...
Yeah. You're like, there's no more phases. Except there was, because it was followed by the Duraphase. I don't know why. They were mechanically activated. They were specifically designed to avoid pumps, valves, and fluid, and the potential of the leakage of the fluid that you would get in the Ipps. They could alternate between flaccid and rigid, depending on the tension of a supporting central cable.
Ooh, okay.
When I hear cable, I think, I'm getting less comfortable now.
No, but the engineering bit of my brain is starting to visualize how you
right?
can tighten a cable that has only one cantilevered moment.
Oh, yeah. I'm getting it. It's the original cantilever. Apparently it combined the desirable properties of ease of concealment, rigidity for intercourse, and it was a simpler surgical technique. But the Omniphase and Duraphase were eventually phased out of the market because of cable failure and the need for them to be replaced.
Do you have the mechanisms? How do these work?
I don't know. I couldn't find those. I'm sure they're out there, but they were phased out in the 80s. And apparently, it was these the semi-rigids, etc., were not as popular. So, downsides were you get a dick that's always slightly rigid. It put constant pressure on the inside of the penis, which can cause injury. And the best one, it can be difficult to conceal under clothing, depending on the styles at the time. So those are the three types.
That's it?
Yeah, the three types: the two inflatables and the
semi-rigid.
So installing your device. Let's pop one in.
No, having someone install it for you.
Yeah, that's true.
You need a licensed tradie for this.
Other than the stamp test, which you should try at home, the penile tumescence test. Don't try this at home. So apparently, procedure under full anaesthesia, 1 to 2 hours. You cut the penis below the head and insert the implant for the semi-rigid one.
Okay.
Yeah, you're like my teeth.
You need to tell me to brace myself for this.
Oh, you brace yourself. And of course, as they add, it's important to customize the size of the implant based on both body and penis size. Now, I don't know why you need to say that. Please make it the right size.
No, I do know why. I do know why.
Surgeons are brain damaged.
I think just in case, let's state these things.
So that's a simple one. That's for your semi-rigid. You put a cut below the head of the penis and you slide the
choose the hinge spot.
Oh, yeah, I love the hinge. There's so much more to understand. This is like the third episode in a row where we could do 11 follow-ups, but we won't. Well, we might. For your two-piece inflatable, your 2 IPP, the surgeon does also other cuts, a couple of small cuts to get the pump in and the valve, because you've got to slide those two things in the old champ. Now, your 3-piece system, right? You need incisions in the abdomen to put the fluid container in place.
Of course you do.
It's just a lot. It's a lot of stuff. I get why, but why?
So don't do it at home?
No, maybe not at all. I mean, I don't know. Depends on. I don't know. I mean, obviously, I've never had intercourse because I don't have children.
There, but the grace, yeah, of course.
So I'm.
Well, I have done my 2.
You've done both,
my 2 intercourses. And,
so I'm doing this. Didn't you use artificial insemination and wank into a cup like a good Christian man?
No. Well, no good Christian man would do it the old-fashioned way.
We'll do it twice. Yes. So you need to add extra things to get the 3-piece put in. But the article that I was reading notes that implantation techniques for penile prostheses have had numerous iterative improvements as devices have become more durable and reliable.
Of course.
For example,
they got Bluetooth. And this one's on Wi-Fi.
Are you getting interference? Does yours keep going up and down to the beat of Shaniqua's new song? Shaniqua's an artist, right? No, what's her name?
You're the one talking about
Shakira.
Don't knock Shakira.
No, I'm not. I just got the name wrong. So a couple of suggestions. So the AMS, of the AMS 700 fame, and another company who did IPPs, they offered, for example, innovations like variable coloured tubing to facilitate identification of connections between cylinders, pump, and reservoir. Like, that's not innovation. Don't cross the tubes.
No, it's really not.
And there aren't many of them.
I thought they were going to say like variable colours so you can make your dick a different colour if you want. It glows from the inside.
A pool light, a neon kind of flashing thing.
That is obviously
now
what
I'm
everyone
thinking
wants.
about it.
Look, I think the thing to remember on this is let's not just restore function. This is to what it could be.
Turn a bug into a feature.
Let's go above.
When you're having the first night with a person of your choice and you say, believe me, you're going to be impressed.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, really? How big could it be? It's like, oh, not big.
It's the colours. It's the colours.
Yeah. Like a disco ball. Also, other improvements like the Scott retractor and hooks, which facilitate device placement, the Scott retractor and hooks.
What are the hooks? Where are the hooks going? What are they doing?
They're facilitating placement. Scott was the original IPP guy. And of course, we also have the furlough introducer and the Keith needle. I saw that and thought, I've got to do an episode. The furlough introducer and the Keith needle. We got a new needle for this. What do we call it, Keith?
The Keith needle is an awesome name for a metal band, though.
Isn't it?
It's just great fun. It's the Keith needle.
We're the Keith, not Keith needle, the Keith
They're
needle.
obviously from Northern England, though. So,
I mean, Keith. We're the Keith needle.
Keith needle.
You can all get fucked. You're our fans. It means we don't respect you. Anyone who likes us is an idiot. Anyway, thanks for buying our albums. So there are limitations, obviously. Those were things to do with installation improvement. So while the prosthetics have come a long way since 1973, there are many areas to improve.
Yeah.
So only 5% of people who are eligible to get an IPP actually go for it. 5% in the US at least.
Is it funding or is it
money?
Chickening out or
fear of surgery and the complications, because they do exist. Also, the idea that having to do all this stuff and on the beanbag might feel a little unnatural.
I don't like that sound.
That's the sound it makes. I listen to it online.
I don't like that.
You look it up. Look up sound of IPP.
I'm not going to. Stop it.
Also, the IPPs don't really mimic a natural erection that well. They need a lot of user manipulation, which, how do they put it, has palpable components which affect the user's perception of discretion, which they would.
Oh, okay.
I mean, how do you broach that the first time with a partner where you go, look, it's going to seem a bit weird for a moment, but it's going to be worth it?
Maybe exactly like you just did.
I would. Look.
I think
we've come this far.
I suggest probably you don't have that conversation while you're doing it.
Or before, like, oh no, I think we're heading towards the bedroom. If we do, I just want you to know it's going to get a little engineering-y.
Yeah, I've had some issues.
Have you? You all right?
I'm
you're
vocalizing. This is over dinner.
I get confused.
You foreshadow over dinner. Like you're having a nice
anything
pasta.
in your past you want to talk about?
Yeah, you passed it, and you say, "Look, I had some accidents."
Smaxidents.
And that's it. And they have affected me a little bit, but it's cool. It's cool.
I saw
then,
one. I saw
then
one
you
of those
just drop
episodes
hints.
that
You just
people
drop
had
hints.
difficulty.
So you make it a story.
Yeah.
You make it compelling. And they're like, I want to know what these things are. And they're like, I can't.
me.
I'm not gonna reveal all, unless
Do you know what they should do? They should. Have you listened to this episode of the Wholesome Show?
Indeed.
Because now you're going to be fascinated. Now you're going to want to see this.
Yeah,
I'm going to demand it.
I'm the guy with the disco lights.
Yeah, I can't imagine. It would be difficult. Like I saw an episode of it. There was a show that people who had very particular and probably confronting medical matters who were trying to date.
Yes.
And there was this very attractive, I don't know, early 40s woman from England who had a full-on stoma, like colostomy bag. And she was talking through what it was like to try and have that conversation before you
I know.
and I can't even imagine how difficult that would be and how many times you'd have a bad situation.
But you know what? We all have baggage. We all bring baggage to the party.
This is me not being a dickhead for a change. Like I just can't imagine. I cannot imagine how hard it would be to say, by the way, I've got this thing.
No, what I'm saying is open, honest, transparent conversations are the only way forward.
What are you, a hippie?
They're the only way forward.
What
else are you going to do?
What
is he going to do? I'm going to hide. There's no other path.
Surprise. Wouldn't be the best.
You're going to love or not love this.
Oh, it's just... So there are a lot of limitations. So 5%, they don't mimic a natural thing, palpable components, risks of malfunction, infection, and erosion. Erosion. Sorry, my implant
where
was
is the erosion?
I assume from frequent use. Another bummer with a lot of these things is the treatments for ED can mean that you can never again get a natural erection. Like it could mean that because of the surgery, etc. This is the only way you can do it.
So I think going back to Hippocrates,
yes.
if it's bad business for a month, maybe you don't want to invest in this.
Yeah.
If, however, you've been in the Peloponnesian War,
yes,
and you have literally lost some key blood vessels or something like that, then maybe you might think about this. But just bad business for a month, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I've had a bit of an off period. Like don't go to surgery. Also, the life expectancy of the implant depends on the device, but around 60 to 80% of devices work for about 10 years.
Well, 10 years is not bad. I mean, a lot of organ transplants are in that sort of bucket.
My favourite limitation...
I mean, it'd be great if it was longer. I totally get that.
It would be great. And look, I think it could be. And we're about to get to how you fix it. Well, kind of. Also, and a lot of people didn't realise this apparently when they ask or need one, it doesn't increase the length of the penis. And in fact, an erect penis with penile implants will often be a bit shorter than it was before surgery.
I'm sure they'll ask.
So it doesn't even get bigger.
Again, I get that marketing is not the dominant criteria for the surgeons making.
Want a bigger
these
penis? Don't do this. Yeah,
but
you've got one that works.
Bigger and brighter lights would be a positive.
I agree.
Like, let's add some positives here.
A little bit of tinsel.
Yeah,
not actual tinsel because that I don't think would be comfortable. So prostheses and implants, they're a boon, but they're not the ultimate solution. So let's go back to transplants. We began this tale with transplants. Why should we leave that alone? So in April of 2018. Surgeons at the Johns Hopkins Hospital. I don't know why it's Johns.
Yeah, because there's multiple Johns. Like there were the four brothers. They were all called John. They were all called Hopkins. They were John Hopkins, and they were the Johns Hopkins. So
the Hopkinsons of Johnston. They did the 4th successful penis transplant in the world on a man who was hit by an IED in Afghanistan.
Oh, damn.
He also lost both legs, so he basically got everything downstairs blown off.
Jesus, yeah.
Horrifying. Of course, it wasn't the first transplant, but it was the most extensive because it included the penis, the scrotum, and the lower abdominal wall, which I can't even imagine a whole part of your lower abdomen being transplanted.
Look, I know what the outside of the body is. When you go to the inside of the body,
it's a lot more moist.
It's all just meat and bones to me.
Yeah, it is, but that's plumbing. I mean, sorry, that's surgery, plumbing and carpentry.
Yeah, no, and what I'm saying is I don't have the plans to the inside of the house that well mapped out in my brain.
I think you should think about it.
I mean, I know if you tell me there's a lower abdominal wall, I'll go, yes, of course there is.
Well, there is, and obviously I know a lot about it because I did medical anthropology in the 90s. Yeah,
that's what they teach you.
So they talk about abdominal walls a lot. It's a fairly large lump of meat that you need
I don't doubt you need. If you've what I'm just assuming, if you've got it, you need it. That's where I'm starting.
That's not always the case. Like the appendix, for example.
Yeah, that's the only one. There must be a reason for it.
No, and that middle toe. So, they gave him the penis, scrotum, and the lower abdominal wall, but they chose not to give him the testicles as well because they consulted with bioethicists who said, "Look, there's sperm generating tissue here, so if it really works."
That's making babies that are not necessarily his babies.
Whose kids, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So it took
They didn't give him some fakies?
Like little tiny, like McDonald's Happy Meal
or
sperm?
big or whatever. No. The testicles, the balls. Like put something.
I would have assumed
put some marbles
prosthetic,
in there.
Yeah, they do.
No, just marbles.
Just marbles.
Just marbles.
What's that clinky noise? It could be
close enough, whatever.
Could be
a couple of skets.
I'm thinking those little Easter eggs that you get in bulk packages, about that size.
They dissolve.
How do you know?
I've put many Easter eggs in my. Many.
Nearly got you. You nearly said something terrible. 9 plastic surgeons and 2 urological surgeons worked on this operation. They've been planning since 2013 to try and do this.
Wow.
So, of course, they practiced on cadavers, looking at arteries, nerves, and veins that need connecting and refining their techniques. It also took a lot of time to match a donor and a patient for age, skin tone. I hadn't thought about that. Like, that's not the colour of my ding-dong.
It would be fairly confronting.
Wouldn't it? Imagine that. It's
not even... Is it racist? It is racist. It's not racist.
No, it's not
racist. It's a bit racist. It's a bit something. It's a bit something.
It would work in any direction. Like if you're a darker skinned person, you get a white dick.
You just want it to match.
That's just not mine. It might be 8 times bigger, but it's not mine.
But still, I get it. I get it.
Penises should generally be, if you wash the tone through, the same tone as the rest of your body, except for obviously the bitch and tan that we get.
Yeah, the tan. Yeah, you get the tan lines. Yeah.
But of course, a smart person tans nude. So there are a lot of criteria to try and check it out. So the surgeons donated their time because it would have cost $300,000 to $400,000.
Again, I told you this is nighttime work.
Yeah,
you do your regular work. Yeah, penis transplants, nighttime work.
Why are you still at work, honey? I'm putting a dick on a dude. Like, is that a euphemism? No, it's literal.
I want to be the first.
$300,000 to $400,000 US.
I'm sure.
14-hour.
Well, you mentioned the number of plastic surgeons and urologists.
There's a lot of people.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that.
But Johns Hopkins is a research center as well, though.
Totally. But a lot of people that all probably have fairly large salaries. So,
I reckon they get at least $100,000 a year,
or even $50,000.
At least 100,
or even 25. I don't know, but it's big. It's big.
Definitely
it's big.
I'm convinced. So 2 weeks after the surgery, the patient also got a bone marrow infusion from the donor to try and help with.
Just for a bonus. No, just for a bonus.
Do you want a bone marrow infusion?
You get something as well. You buy one, get one free.
Fuck yeah, I do.
And with bone marrow transplant.
So it's about immunosuppression. So it meant that I only needed 1 low dose of immunosuppressing drugs a day, which is quite unusual. So it helped bring that back. A follow-up article in 2019, so a year and a bit later, said he was doing well. He returned to function and it exceeded our expectations. A year and a half after the transplant, he basically had ordinary sensation. He could urinate normally and he could make the love times.
That's awesome.
Achieving orgasm with someone else's.
Oh, obviously.
That's amazing.
Yes, no, that's awesome. That's awesome. I hadn't questioned that before. That the other implants. I was being very generous in this whole thing.
It's in your nature,
and I was thinking, I'm here to help, but obviously they might want to help themselves as well. At any point, was he? Did he have a choice about getting his legs back as well?
I believe not. I don't think we're good at that yet. But you can have a functioning.
You totally can. No, indeed, and that's awesome. That's awesome. I'm very happy for him, and I get there are many complications to his life.
Oh God, so many. But he can do that, and that matters. There's a whole bunch of stuff in this article, testimonials from him saying, look, it really made him feel like a human. Yeah, exactly. I see what you did there. But he's much happier. I can't walk, but I can other. So this gets us to transplants for beyond things like this. Like, what about for gender reassignment or gender affirmation, etc.? Mm-hmm. So, it's a very fair question. Do you then, someone who's had their sex changed surgically, can you transplant a dick onto them?
Well, how many donors do we have?
Well, we're going to get to that issue.
Okay, because I don't doubt that.
Are you not
if they're available?
You're not on the register for.
I'm sure I'm on the donor register.
You might want to check what is donatable.
What?
I'll tell you about that.
What? I said everything. And you have to take it all. That's what I said to them. Yeah. You got to take it all.
No, you can't just have my lungs. Yeah. You have the lot.
Yeah.
My eyes, my tongue.
Replace me with that person. Yep. Put their brain inside my body.
So in 2020, a Boston hospital said they're considering whether to allow the first ever penis transplant onto a transgender man.
Okay. So this being instead of, okay.
Yeah, you don't just reconstruct. You actually you transplant or you attach a penis.
Did they talk about the efficacy benefits?
Yes.
Yeah, the effectiveness benefits that they would get in this. Okay.
Absolutely. So normally you'd get the phalloplasties, which I mentioned earlier. Flaps of skin constructed, but they have very high complication rates, 80 to 90% of weird complications. But also, according to one very well-educated transgender activist, phalloplasties don't have the same aesthetic appeal as natural penises.
Yeah, okay.
They don't enlarge and get hard on their own.
And it might be aesthetic appeal is a key part of this whole thing. So
kind of matters.
Yep.
But there's also metoidioplasties.
What?
Metoideo.
I'm fine with my metoideo at the moment. I don't need a different one.
You don't need a new one. So that's where.
Tell me what it is.
I'm gonna. You ready? This is going to get technical. Surgeons form neophalluses out of clitoral tissue.
Okay.
Which
give me that in plain English.
They take the clitoris and build kind of a sort of penis out of it. But apparently, according to the transgender activist, the phalluses are disappointingly small.
Okay.
You do have an erection, and it can stay hard. Some people are capable of.
So we're saying in most gender affirmation surgeries, that is the sort of path that is happening.
Yeah, and it sounds like it might be in many ways the best current path, because at least you get something that works
and does some version of the job. Yeah.
But a transplant ideally will offer, again, a quote, fewer urethral complications, better cosmetic outcome, and a better physiological sexual capacity.
Yeah, okay, I get it.
But putting it on transgender men is much more difficult than putting it onto cisgender.
As in, are we saying in the sense that, say, this guy, the Afghanistan IED, he's got most of he's
already got the
vessels and stuff that are pointing in the right direction, and so he's missing the key bit.
Yeah, okay. So the baseline sort of material, the infrastructure already exists.
Yeah, we've got the on ramps here.
Exactly.
We just need to finish the highway.
We know where to put the toilet because the plumbing's already in place.
Yeah, exactly. But in trans situations, we've got a different sort of.
Well, yeah, and they're saying so. Like for example, they won't be able to ejaculate because they don't have male reproductive systems. They're not sure they'll be able to have erections because they're not quite sure about what you can connect to what to make that happen. And, of course, the ethics. So, of course, there's a lot of prejudices, like how dare you hand them to people when our boys are getting their dicks blown off in Afghanistan. Again, the balls, if you transplant the balls too.
Mate, can I stop on when our boys are getting their dicks blown off in Afghanistan? It sounds terrible. Yeah. It probably, no doubt is terrible. We could do a little bit less warring, and that might change.
That's how we fix it. Yeah, but we're not going to anytime soon because we're going to wait for the climate to kill most of us off. How do you prioritize then? Is it someone who's had one blown off? Or
how do you prioritize other organs?
I don't. I just keep mine.
Well, one day that might be different.
How dare you?
But how do we prioritize other organs?
That's a good question.
Kidneys. There's kidneys or livers or something like that. Do you give the liver to the 70-year-old, to the 50-year-old, to the 2-year-old?
Yep.
To the person who's these are the questions that
real issues.
High school year 9 ethics, but they're real questions. And what does it mean for dicks? And I think that's
and one of the phrases that comes up all the time is quality of life. But then what the fuck does quality of life mean? How do you standardize, instrumentalize, or rank and prioritize quality of life? It's
do you have to show how much you're going to use it? Like, is there some sort of
how much do you intend to use this? Oh, a lot.
But plausibly. Plausibly
a lot. Oh, you meant plausibly? Yeah, then definitely plausibly.
If we're down to 2 people and it's like you're gonna get more use out of this and you're gonna get less use out of that, which of the 2 gets it?
Well, the other one could be if I don't have it, I won't get any use, but if I do, I will.
That's true. No, in doubt. No, but there's other things. Like you are obviously
it's complex.
You're a dancer, and
I am a dancer. It's true.
Indeed. Whereas you're
not
are of different and.
Less capacious, shall we say?
I don't know.
But this is the thing. So, but I mean, regardless how you think about eligibility, whatever, you need enough dicks.
Oh, I'm going to put on the record here.
We have dick supply problems.
That should I die in a bus accident, you listener, you can have
the one listening
any
most
piece
closely.
of me, any piece of me that.
God, that's a generous offer. You're a good guy.
I don't know how to. It's not a legally binding contract.
In the future. So it turns out, at least in the US, a standard organ donor agreement does not include all body parts.
Does it not?
So penis is not on the list. So you have to contact the family of the deceased person and say,
and okay, I do get that there is a limit where you might go, not your brain, because by default your brain is the you, or your. Or
what are you, an atheist? Your soul is you.
Or your
man.
soul. Yeah, okay. The soul that lives inside your pituitary
in the heart. In the heart.
In your liver.
Heart. God, you're callous. He doesn't love anything.
He doesn't.
He loves no one and nothing. Because he thinks he's pituitary.
I don't want someone else having my brain, but they can have anything.
It wouldn't
else.
make sense to.
No, well, they can have my brain, but obviously I would take over their body. Like that's I win that fight. Yeah,
okay, I'm in now. Just the brain though. Brain transplant, nothing else. So basically, the Johns Hopkins guy who had everything transplanted was on the waiting list for at least a year, but also they had Johns Hopkins influence. So, but getting your hands on enough dicks can be difficult. I mean, we've all said that. But you don't have to worry. This is how we will round this out. Because we have a solution. You grow your own.
Yes.
So in 2006, at the Wake Forest Institute for Regenerative Medicine in North Carolina, a chap called Anthony Atala and his team they did the first successful bioengineered organ transplant. So they transplanted a bladder into 7 people. They grew a lot of dicks. 7 different people in 1999 had bladder transplants, and they were bioengineered. Then later on, in 2014, he'd done a follow-up on 4 women who between 205 and 208.
But maybe this is actually a key area for, in the sense that obviously accidents happen, but there is going to ongoing be a percentage of trans men that will want some sort of thing. Yeah. That this is actually that we're going to need a supply of grown dicks.
We are. If you can do it, then we're going to need more of it. So these guys are on a roll. So they did where were we? Bioengineered vaginas.
Yeah, of course.
So 4 women were given those between 205 and 208.
How did you not lead with that story?
Well, because I'm not a man, or a woman. I'm only a man. I don't know. So bioengineered vaginas, and they worked.
Damn, okay.
But he said, despite these successes, penises are trickier. So organs, right?
What?
I know.
No.
Not better, trickier.
I did not expect them to be trickier. I thought they were actually
much more simple.
I kind of in some senses. I get the on off is actually your ears don't change size.
Like to do as you get older, your ears get way bigger.
Yes, that's
old
true.
Australian men?
I have. Just Australians?
Yeah, with their weird little hats and and they get big ears.
Yes. Okay.
Always Australian.
All right, I'm going to pick another organ like your elbows. Obviously not an organ.
Oh, mine are huge.
But that doesn't change size.
Twice the size they were when I was in my 20s. Why do you think I always have my sleeves rolled down? I'm embarrassed.
You and your huge Popeye elbows.
That's just scary. So yeah, the penis is trickier. He said organs increase in architectural complexity as they go from flat structures like skin to cylindrical structures like the vagina to hollow, non-tubular organs like the bladder, and worse, the penis, a solid organ because density of cells and structural complexity. Like it's actually very complex to be simple.
I get it. A liver might be simple. It's kind of all cells sort of thing, but penis has to change and do a variety of things.
It's all wacky.
Damn, finally.
We're complex. We're just simple in our function. So in 2008, just after the vaginas were installed and everything went, they bioengineered a bunch of rabbit dicks.
Cool.
They attached them to 12 male rabbits. They all tried to mate. They're all into it. In 8, there was proof of ejaculation.
Hey, good on you, rabbits.
4 had babies.
Hey, good on you, rabbits.
With bioengineered dicks.
It's not hard for rabbits to have babies. Like, that could just be...
With a bioengineered dick.
Yes. Yeah, no, I get that. I just kind of think that you rub 2 rabbits together and they have more rabbits. Like, that's... Like, rabbits don't even need to...
20 rabbits behind you. It's just how it happens.
It's not even an intercourse thing. It's just rabbits near each other. Like,
what do you do? Make more bunnies. So, but that worked. And they said it was a proof of concept that he'd been working on since 1992, that penises could be grown in a laboratory and transplanted to humans. So it's theoretically possible. He also hopes his technique will mitigate both immunological and psychological issues of transplants from cadavers because they'll be engineered using the patient's own cells.
Yeah, of course. So you can pick your colour in advance.
Exactly. Have you got one in a sort of an off-white?
No, but aside from that, I mean, psychological reasons are legit, but also for
they're huge.
For the organ rejection components.
It's a big part. But he also says, I love this part, the phallus is actually much longer than you think.
Indeed. That's what I have always said.
I know, I get sick of saying that myself. Oh, it's longer than you think. Really?
What? Who writes this?
Not me. I didn't say
no, indeed.
It was a TV show a friend of mine watched. But he said it goes all the way behind the pelvis, so no matter how much damage, there's going to be pokes out the back.
You wouldn't know, but you got to measure. You got to measure from basically your tailbone all the way around
from the coccyx
through the taint, and then up.
Yeah. So we're talking about 45 inches. But what it means is so our poor bugger who got it ripped down to a 1 centimetre stump. If you go in deep, there's a bunch of cells that can be salvageable and used for growing a new penis.
Yeah, but don't you need the back bit of the penis that's stored up in your backbone?
So,
don't you need that? I mean, if it's there, it has a purpose.
You just go and you blow on the end and it pops out the front. You haven't tried that?
No, I haven't. I can't get to my backbone like that.
What kind of parties do you go to? So it's possible there could be cells you could use. So back in 94, he used a technique that they normally use for biological skin dressings. so matter of fact, science rocks. Take a donor penis and soak it in a mild detergent of enzymes for a couple of weeks to wash away the donor cells.
I'm just going to leave alone the mild detergent of enzymes. But
I know. Don't you wash your clothes in that?
No, but I have a bucket ready to soak any donor penises I have in my house.
Yeah, I've got to wash away the donor cells. You're left with, apparently, a mostly collagen scaffold, a skeleton, if you like, that looks and feels just like the organ. It's dissolved bits. Think of it like a building. If you remove all the furniture and the people, you're still left with the main structure of the building. Then you replace the tenants with new ones. That's the whole idea. It's just that the building is a penis and the tenants are cells. Idiot. It's just that the building is a penis and the tenants are cells. Think about it. Take a moment.
I'm thought.
So the next step is you reseed the structure of the patient's own cells, which you take in a biopsy from salvageable tissue and grown in a culture. So by 2014, he had engineered 6 human penises. And the first image I got was that, you remember that mouse with the ear, the human ear?
Yeah, no, that's what I was assuming mice are growing dicks on their backs.
That's what I'm saying too, like a mouse with this.
Please tell me it is.
It's not.
Oh.
And
it's a golden retriever.
Oh my God.
With a dick on its.
We call her Dickie. No, but he says they're not ready for transplanting, but we're assessing the structures for safety and effectiveness. One machine squashes, stretches, and twists them to make sure they can stand up to the wear and tear of everyday life.
Okay.
It's like, what are you doing? Oh, fuck, I'm doing the dick testing machines again. I'm going to put them in this thing, squash them, squish them, twist them.
You know that PhD students out there are in the dick testing machine, squishing these things. And
it's true though, they are. And what do you do for work? I don't want to talk about it.
Well, look, it's science. It's science.
Bear with me when I start with this. I test penises. Wait, not in the way you think.
For they were men and women of science.
Yep. Another thing. So basically he says it's a rigorous testing schedule. I love that this article says Atala wearily. But we're trying to get approval from the FDA so we know everything is perfect before we make a move to the first in-man test.
In-man test.
So in 2018, he said he expected the first test would occur within 5 years, so about 2023. Our first target will be partial replacement of organs. So they'll grow little bits and pieces to try and start to help. So where are we at right now? So I found a Nature paper in 2019, and they talk all about the potential still, just potential. And then an article from August this year, 2021, Therapeutic Advances in Urology. We've all read it. They still it's called Regenerative Technology to Restore and Preserve Erectile Function in Men Following Prostate Cancer Treatments, Evidence for Penile Rehabilitation, blah, 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 blah. They're still saying, look, there's bits and pieces that kind of work a bit, but we're not quite sure. So we're on the cusp. 2023 is going to be let's see if we can do this shit.
Hey.
So we're close to bioengineering penises in the lab and attaching them to people so there's no organ rejection and people with any number of dysfunctions and or gender reaffirmation surgeries.
But you know, I still do think this is actually, you know, I know the puerileness of some in this world might focus on this, but flipping it around, this is actually probably one of the most pressing needs, in the sense that there's probably not going to be that many ears. Go back to the mouse growing the ear. Yeah, there'll be people that need ears, but not heaps and heaps.
No.
But I think in that trans community, there's going to be an ongoing pressing need.
I mean, look, it's an excuse for dick jokes, which of course I love, but it's, and talking about the implant's hilarious, but the implications of this are remarkable.
Do you know what?
Remarkable.
That is the essence of Wholesome Show. An excuse for dick jokes, but the implications are remarkable.
That's how we roll.
Wholesome Show is obviously brought to you by dick jokes.
More often than it should.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, and the Australian National Centre for the Public Awareness of Science.
Unrelated to dick jokes. They're not into it.
Will Grant, Rod Lamberts.
Chelsea.
Ah.